Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Obviously this is not my normal recording session, but I just had to jump on here and actually record the intro for the video you're about to watch. So today is going to be an episode of Slasher Slaying Sunday. So I originally was gonna do these things on Thursday, but then I realized like Sunday's just a better day in general because you can like chill and relax, and who doesn't want to listen to spooky stories and watch scary movies on a Sunday? Like everyone wants that, right? So today I'm actually going to be telling you a story about the real Michael Myers. Halloween is one of my favorite movies, and I watched that movie about 50 times during October. So today I'm going to be telling you the origin story of this amazing, like, huge franchise. Just a quick reminder, I am doing a giveaway of a mystery box worth over $200, and it is a free giveaway. All you have to do is like my videos, subscribe, and share any of my videos, to be honest. And in the next video I'll post, which will be on Tuesday, I will actually give you guys a sneak peek of the things that will be in the mystery bag. So please keep watching. This is gonna be a very like spooky, kind of fucked up story, but it's not a very long one. So yeah, happy Halloween, y'all. And yeah, thank you for watching. Bye. Okay, so as you guys know, Halloween is one of my favorite movies, like ever. That franchise, even though it's a little ridiculous with like Halloween 17, you know what I mean? It is the pillar of the, slasher film industry. It's like where I feel like a lot of all of the, no, it's not like I feel like, it's literally where all of these like other storylines originated from. So I'm gonna tell you a story about the real Michael Myers, and that was a guy, sorry, my notes, named Stanley Stiers, Michael Myers, very original, guys, very original. He was born in 1912, but his killing spree actually took place in 1920 Iowa. So obviously, the Halloween movies are set in Illinois, but the actual spree that this is based on was set in Iowa. So this is a crazy story. Let's go back where he came from, who he is. So Stiers, or Stanley, let's call him Stanley. He was abused as a child by his parents. His parents really made it clear that they didn't fuck with him. They didn't like him. They abused him, and his parents were very much alcoholics. So the reason why the parents actually had an issue with Stanley was because Stanley wasn't actually their biological child. So on one level, the mom actually got pregnant outside of her marriage. So on one hand, he wasn't like, this pregnancy obviously like took a toll on the father because it wasn't his baby to even start with. But then there was a nurse who got a kick, I guess, out of switching babies at birth. And this is what she did with Stan. Stan was actually switched out at birth by this nurse, and this is a real story, I promise you. Stan was actually switched out at birth by this nurse, and so the parents resented him because they weren't, it was like he wasn't theirs biologically. And I know what you're thinking, right? Like, well, then switch the babies back. So actually the baby that was biologically the parents died on their way home On his way home from the hospital, it was the parents, these other parents' biological baby were driving home from the hospital and they died. So basically their biological child died in a car accident. The entire family did, actually. But yeah, so they resented him, did not see him as like one of their own. But this is the 20s. Like, I don't know why they didn't just like give him away. I feel like if you don't want a child, then just give him away, or like leave him in a fire station or something. Like, I'm pretty sure that was like a thing back there. Why you gotta abuse him? Why? Anyways, so the nurse was actually sent to jail and was later on killed by Stanley. Eventually killed by Stanley because he found out exactly the fact that like this was kind of her reason. This was her fault that he was stuck in a home situation that made him miserable, because they abused him physically, mentally, emotionally. The parents abused him. Not saying that he was justified of, marrying killing the nurse, but, or killing anyone. But, I get it. So then later on, the parents also gave birth to a sister that was biologically both of their children, and they treated this girl like a princess. Like, they treated her, gave her all the greatest things, while Stanley was left with, all the leftovers and things like that. So because she was their biological child, they made it so that it was very obvious who they preferred, who they loved, X, Y, and Z. So anyways, Halloween Eve 1923 is when the bloodbath began. So if you know the movie of Michael Myers and Halloween, you know that it is literally on Halloween. Like, that's when all the stuff goes down. So on Halloween, so this is what was also adapted from this story into the movie. It was like a Halloween thing. On Halloween, Stanley was 11 years old, and sadly, he was not allowed to trick or treat. Like, these parents were awful. Like, how? Like, you didn't even let the kid freaking trick or treat. Like, that's bogus. That's bogus AF. So he was not allowed to trick or treat, and on Halloween Eve, the sister comes home from a Halloween party at midnight. So at this point, it's already, Halloween. And he, at midnight, he goes into the kitchen. Stanley goes into the kitchen. He takes a butcher knife, which is the infamous, weapon of choice for Michael Myers in the movie. So he takes the butcher knife and he climbs to the second floor of their house and stabs his sister over 11, I think it's like over 17 times. And then the parents not being home, when the parents get home, he does the same to them. So he stabs the entire family and with this big butcher knife. Afterwards, so this was midnight Halloween, so then he spends the day in the house, and during the night on Halloween, with his parents dead in the house, he goes on his notorious killing spree. What happens, you say? So as a child, Stanley was not only abused by his family and his sister and all that, he was abused also by the kids at school. He was a bully. He was bullied. And he goes trick-or-treating. He finally goes trick-or-treating. Because remember, he was never able to go trick-or-treating as a child. So he takes this opportunity of being free of his parents and his family to go trick-or-treating. So he goes trick-or-treating, knock, 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 trick-or-treat. He got more tricks than treat, obviously, for them. But trick or treat, and then during the trick or treat, he takes detours from the houses where he's getting candy. He takes detours to the houses of his classmates. So he goes into this one kid's house and he kills him. This kid was notorious in bullying Stanley Stiers. He was constantly ridiculing him, making fun of him. Somehow these kids knew about the whole like switched at birth, like his family wasn't actually his family type of thing. So they constantly, you know, ridiculed him as well for that. You know, kids can be cruel, kids can be evil, and I'm not saying that as a justification for, you know, his murder spree, but this kid was 11 and he obviously went through a lot of trauma in his life. So that's just me. That's just what I gotta say about that, is that I'm not justifying anything. Like, no one should be killed. Okay, sorry. So I had to just pop off and do my lashes because they were giving me, they were being a pain in the ass, and they still are. But whatever. Okay, where did we left off? So he went into the bullies. He invaded the homes of classmates. And what he did, I mean, not what he did, what was noted was that there were people noted that he had like superhuman strength or something. Like, I had to fix my lashes. So really quickly, he invaded the bullies' homes, and these were noted. These were like not like just 11-year-old bullies, even though he had those. These were like upperclassmen bullies, and they actually noted that Stanley had almost like superhuman strength, like throwing around these grown men, these grown, like, you know, like elementary, maybe like 8th graders, I don't know, but they were definitely older than him, throwing them around like if they were rag dolls, like if it was like nothing to him. And I think that's interesting because in Halloween, you know, that motherfucker never dies, and he is fast and he is strong and X, Y, and Z. So obviously that was, you know, inspired by these rumors of Stanley being almost superhuman, like, even though obviously he was just an 11-year-old boy, he wasn't superhuman. I don't know who's to say, maybe he was possessed by a demon or something. But anyways, so he went into one classmate's house and killed the entire family. He killed multiple people just like walking down the street in trick-or-treating. He killed in a few families, and he killed everyone with this notorious butcher knife. So finally, when his killing spree came to an end, he was actually found in a park at sunrise, where he was sitting on a swing and he was just eating his candy, his trick-or-treat candy that he finally was able to get after years of being deprived of trick-or-treating. So he was sitting and he was eating his candy, and the federal agents actually promptly swept him away, him now being an orphan, swept him away and sent him to a mental institution, because this was the 20s. And I even think now, if this happened, they would send him to a mental institution, because it's being the 20s. There was no way that like a kid could commit such horrific acts. Like, they just didn't understand like that this child could really do this. Like, a child could really, you know, commit these awful crimes. But he did, and he was sent to a mental institution, and the FBI was actually involved in covering this up. However, obviously the story came out, Halloween became such a huge franchise, and there were many copycat murders, like Stanley. So that is the story of Halloween 1923 and Stanley Steyer's murderous spree. So yes, this is crazy. Blows my mind. I'm an 11-year-old, and I didn't know that there was actually like a real Michael Myers. That's why I googled it, and it was just it's just insane. So yes, be safe this Halloween, even though we still have a few weeks. Please subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye.